my Crime and Policing channel. I've got a special guest. Want to introduce yourself, please?
So hello everyone, my name's Craig Batham. I'm the Chief Officer of the Special Constabulary in South Yorkshire.
So, I know what that is, but people who are watching this might not. Could you explain what it is you do, please?
The easiest way to describe it is, if you take the special bit out, the Special Constabulary are realistically just volunteer police officers.
Yeah.
So where officers will get paid to do it full time, we turn up and we have the exact same powers as a normal police officer, but we do it for free.
Why?
I suppose it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I did it, I've been in 14 and a half years now. I joined because I wanted to see what it was like before I left my day job, and before I committed fully to becoming a kind of a regular paid officer, if you like. Mm-hmm. 14 years later, and personal life, family life, work life, etc., meant that I never made that transition from volunteering to kind of paid force. We've got some that join because they want to give something back to their community. They've got a day job that they like, they're well paid for. Some they've always wanted to join the police, but they don't want to make a full-time commitment to it because they enjoy the personal life, etc. So a whole range of reasons why people join us, really.
The stuff you do is as important as regular paid officers, isn't it? And you've just won an award for something? I saw it on LinkedIn.
Yes, so one of the commendation I've just picked up was from West Midlands Police. Wow. So I spent about 18 months helping plan the Commonwealth Games and helping West Midlands Police look at how we were going to use special constables to support the Commonwealth Games. So there was myself and two other special constables from the Met that were helping as part of it. Really unique event. It's never been done before on the scale that we did it for the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that some of the work we did is going to be a legacy piece.
Wow.
And all that was because there were some regular officers in West Midlands Police that didn't put deploying special constables in the too difficult box.
Yeah.
So it was kind of born from their idea, and then myself and others kind of went and advised on different bits and pieces and what the Special Constabulary could do, couldn't do, any changes that need to be considered, etc.
I get a lot of questions about whether people should join the Special Constabulary or the regulars first. What would you recommend, do you think?
I suppose in one vein, the bias in me says join the Special Constabulary first.
Yeah.
For some, policing isn't the career that it's the career they think they want, but not the career that might actually suit them.
Right, okay.
So I joined the Special Constabulary, like I say, I had a fairly decent day job. I wanted to see what policing was like before I made the full jump. The Special Constabulary, it's not about making tea or coffee for paid officers, it's not about doing paperwork for them. You go out, you will see dead bodies, you'll see blood, you'll see road traffic collisions. The bit that we wouldn't like to say about policing, but culturally we've got to accept now, is you might get shouted at, you might get sworn at, you might get assaulted. So you've got to bear in mind all those bits. Mm-hmm. For some people, joining the Special Constabulary is a good taster, and we tend to get officers that join us do about 2.5 years, and then they transition into the regular force. Yeah. Some like me join the Special Constabulary, do it for a bit, and then kind of think, well, actually, I really like my day job, I really like doing policing, I'm going to keep as kind of what we class as a career special constable. Yeah.
You've gone through the ranks, haven't you, quite well? So you're the top rank you could be in South Yorkshire. Yeah. How did you do that?
A lot of time, effort, and kind of tenacity of just, I'm kind of one that's a bit like a dog with a bone. Yeah. And I never set out to be chief officer. When I joined the Special Constabulary, I never set out to actually progress. I just set out because I enjoyed it, it was something I wanted to do. My first promotion many years back was kind of dead man's boots.
Right, yeah.
So my special sergeant was leaving, I was the next longest serving special constable, so it was kind of given to me, if you like. Many things have changed, so I took special sergeant on, then I had to be interviewed for special inspector. then Special Chief Inspector, then I had to write a full-blown kind of state of the Special Constabulary report for Deputy Chief Officer, and then I took up the Chief's role in November last year, as our old Chief was retiring after going through 2 interviews, having to write a strategic document, and had to be interviewed to Competence and Values Framework Level 3.
Wow.
But as part of that, I've done a lot of leadership training courses. I've done my Senior Leaders Programme, College of Policing. So it's not been an easy journey.
No.
And since I got Dead Man's Boots many years ago as a sergeant, what we've done in South Yorkshire now is we've got a Special Sergeants training programme, we've got a Special Inspectors training programme, and we've got an interview process that sits similar to our regular colleagues but without the legal aspect.
Yeah. I remember recruiting quite a lot of special constables, 5 years ago? And that's when we first met, isn't it, when I was working at South Yorkshire Police?
Yep.
What's the process? Are you still recruiting at the minute, or...?
So we opened recruitment in April. We closed recruitment on the 30th of June.
Right, okay.
And that's for a course starting in January. So we're now trying to grow, but trying to grow sustainably.
Yeah.
So as we grow, we're constantly looking at our numbers of where we've got people, where we need people, can we bring people in? And of course, we've got to kind of fit our training courses with the training courses that are still going on for Pcda and DEPs, so the regular entry programs.
What's the timeline then from someone, so say they get in and they're accepted onto the Special Constabulary programme, what's the timeline from then starting to finishing their training?
So within Robert Dyson House, so kind of South Yorkshire's training school, you join us on normally a Tuesday evening, and then we attest you 18 weeks later.
Wow.
So we normally run on kind of Tuesday, Wednesday evening,
Yeah.
and then every other Saturday, Sunday. So it's fairly intense.
Yeah.
Some forces have up to a 26-week training programme.
Right.
We do 18, but by the time you do that, you've done all your legislation, all your personal safety, all your processes, you've done your body worn video, you've done your IT systems, so you've done everything you need to hit district. So we then attest you, pass you to district, and then at district you've got probably another 18 months to 2 years to complete your competency portfolio before you can then start working kind of independently as a direct to patrol status special constable.
Wow. You have you get your uniform, don't you, for free? So everything you get, even your boots, if you're a special constable, you certainly used to.
So you get boots, you get all the uniform you'll need, so you'll not need to buy any kit whatsoever. Normally most people will go, what do I need to buy if I'm joining the Special Constabulary or police? My kind of key pushback is you don't really need to buy anything.
Yeah.
And to be fair, most forces across the UK will dissuade you from buying your own kit. My bit is the only thing you'll need is a decent torch.
Yeah, and some gloves that fit.
Yeah. I mean, when I first joined, one of the first things I was told was go to the nearest petrol station, buy yourself an A to Z of South Yorkshire.
Okay.
However, when I first joined, we didn't. Google Maps on phones and stuff wasn't as kind of reliable as it is now.
I say that's a little bit, after, before sat navs.
That's showing my age in the Special Constabulary.
So, your best job then, we've mentioned the Commonwealth Games, which you did amazing for. You got like an award. If you just tuned in, you got an award for Commonwealth Games planning. What would be your second best career job so far?
Oh,
from the police?
I think the one kind of event I'm proud of is Rotherham Show.
Okay.
And Rotherham Show it's a town event. It's the largest free open air event in the north of England.
Wow.
So anybody can turn up to it. Ran over 2 days with Rotherham Council. There's anywhere between 60 to 70,000 people over 2 days. And for the last few years, I've been part of the planning and the operation of that. So we've worked really closely with kind of council, with security staff, etc. And every year that is a brilliant event. We've had some fantastic weather, some fantastic events there, and it's just going from strength to strength. But I suppose the joy with the Special Constabulary is if you're, and this is kind of why I stay, if you work in the regular force, you're kind of tied to a response shift or a team or a group. so you don't always get to work the events that you want to work. Being part of the Special Constabulary, you can work pretty much any event that we've got access to as a Special Constabulary.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've worked Olympic Torch coming through South Yorkshire, I've worked Queen's Visit to South Yorkshire, Tour de France, Tour de Yorkshire, and like I said, Commonwealth Games. So I've had a lot of kind of ability to work different events, etc.
That's good. That is good. Can you remember your first arrest?
Yes.
Was it bad? Was it good? Did you do well?
It wasn't bad actually. My first arrest was at Woodall Services.
Okay.
So the very kind of southernmost point for South Yorkshire.
Yeah.
And it was an homeless man that had boarded a bus that he wasn't due on. He was shouting, kicking, screaming, didn't want to leave, and quite an aggressive gent.
Right.
And that was my first arrest. So yeah, I don't think you ever forget your first arrest as a police officer.
Did you have to search him in custody as well? Remember all that? Yeah.
I had to search him in custody, and then I had to be cell extracted as well.
Wow.
So I had, as I was decuffing him, I had to have colleagues grab my belt and drag me out of the cell.
Was that aggressive?
Yeah.
Wow. In terms of your kit then, so it's something that happens a lot. So if your kit gets damaged, say you get blood or other fluids on it at work, do you still get that replaced
Yeah.
by the force? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not, I mean, stores is fairly quick to replace stuff, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you don't have to buy it, you get in touch with stores, they send it out usually the same day that you ask for it.
Yeah, that's good. I think questions people have asked. So at the moment, the entry routes into the regular constabulary, we've got the DHEP, which is the degree holder entry programme, which I teach on, Pcda, which you both teach on.
Yep.
And in some forces, they've got nipple dip, haven't they?
Yeah.
Out of all those, and I know you've got experience in all of those, what do you think is the best way into the police at the minute? What do you think is the best avenue?
God, controversial question at times.
That's one we've been asked, so one of the questions was asking what you think is the best way into the police is.
I suppose I'm going to sound a bit like a politician here, and I don't particularly mean to, but when you look at IPPLDIP and IPPLDIP Plus and the various different training schemes that have been brought on by forces at the minute, I don't know enough of the content to be able to kind of give a fully in-depth answer about the IPPLDIP Plus schemes and IPPLDIP itself.
Yeah.
We know that the College of Policing are working on a potential new entry route as requested by the Home Secretary. From the old IPPLDIP programme, I suppose the key bit that I can comment on is the old IPPLDIP programme versus PCDA and DEP.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at crime types, etc., and how crime's changed, when you look at stuff like the Policing Vision 2025, where police chiefs are setting out where they want policing to go over the next 10 years, a lot of crime, particularly that we saw during COVID-19, moved online.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking cybercrime, we're talking fraud, etc. So there's spam emails and text messages that everybody gets.
Yeah.
And of course, we're now in a digital age of policing, and a digital age where everybody's got a smartphone, everybody's got access to laptops and iPads and iWatches and everything else. In the past, that was never particularly taught in great detail to police officers. There were always very specific fields of kind of fraud investigation and cyber crime and cyber security and forensic kind of digital investigations. With PCDA and DEP now, we're starting to see a national curriculum that's refreshed on a yearly basis, and because of that, we're then starting to see police officers that are much more in tune to digital forensics, much more in tune to fraud, but also beginning to be much more aware of the collaborations that can be developed.
Yeah.
So when you look at stuff dealing with domestic abuse, etc., it's about people starting to understand it's not just the police that need to deal with that, it's the other support mechanisms that wider sectors can support with. So where we've got IPPLDIP, that from past experience was kind of the same curriculum, and again it could differ but force by force.
Yeah.
Whereas now you've got PCDA and DEP that has got a set curriculum. Granted, each university and each force will teach it in a slightly different context, but the curriculum is the same. So as a police officer from South Yorkshire, if you live anywhere near the Derbyshire border, you know that no matter whether you've got an incident in South Yorkshire or Derbyshire, as we go through PCDA and DEP, officers are taught to the same standard.
Yeah, it's national, isn't it?
Yeah, and I suppose, kind of giving a long answer to it, that's kind of the best way I can explain it.
Yeah. Would you recommend people do a little bit of reading before joining the police, or any books and stuff? Because I always talk about Blackstone's policing, how good they are. What are your views about that kind of thing?
I think it's one of those, forearmed is forewarned.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yes, people have got to do the research. Traffic cops, traffic interceptors, police interceptors, police 999, all the other policing shows you can think of are great, but they don't show the admin side.
Yeah.
I think reading around it, talking to friends or colleagues that you've got that are in the police or whatever will be beneficial. Stuff like Blackstone's gives you an idea of policy process. There's Critical Publishing do a range of books at the minute, and that's where people within policing are talking about policing in quite a, from some of the books I've read from them, quite an open and honest kind of perspective as well.
That's good.
So I definitely think it's worthwhile doing it. And doing your research, particularly if people are looking at going on to PCDA, DEP, because having an understanding of that will be beneficial. And again, there's a lot of variety there for people if they then want to go into specialisms up the other end or anything else. And if they're doing the research, if you're doing research originally, it's only going to benefit you as you start getting into PCDA, DEP or anything else. You've
got quite a good relationship with the College of Policing, don't you? What's that all about?
I was quite vocal in the past around the College of Policing, particularly around Special Constabulary.
Right, yeah.
And, 2018, 2019, was asked to become a College of Policing ambassador. And thought, well, I'd best put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I was quite vocal about it. And then I got used by the College of Policing, so as PEQF was coming in, I was asked to look at stuff like the Special Constabulary Learning Programme. I've looked at a whole range of kind of different things for the College of Policing since.
Yeah.
And I have got to say, there's sometimes the kind of criticism of the college, but there's a lot that the college do in the background that particularly most police officers don't realise.
Right.
So when you look at personal safety first aid, when you look at driving courses, public order, all of this type of national codifying or standard setting all comes from the College of Policing into forces.
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it, College of Policing?
Yeah, and then when you look at all the promotion stuff on there, when you look at the continuous professional development. So I was, like I said, quite vocal of it, but then I've worked with the college since.
Yeah.
And I don't get me wrong, I still challenge the college. But it's very much a give and take. They ask me, they've given me the freedom to do various different bits and pieces. So I now have a really good working relationship with them, particularly from the Special Constabulary side.
That's really good. You're the course leader as well, where we are in South Yorkshire for the PCDA, which is a massive job, as well as doing this job as well.
Yeah.
So what can you expect? So when people finish the PCDA, which is, in fact, tell us about the PCDA.
So Police Constable Degree Apprenticeship, it's a 3-year course. For us, it's a mixture of delivery at university, delivery at South Yorkshire Police, and then the hands-on operational element. So it is very much a degree apprenticeship, so you've got that work aspect as well.
The police constables, aren't they, as soon as they start?
Day 2.
Day 2?
Yeah.
Almost as soon as you start. Day 2, you're a constable.
So Day 2, attestation, and then into academic stuff. And again, it's trying to build the links between, you've got lots of academic theory, and it's about trying to take the academic theory and be able to apply it.
It's kind of like, I see it as like a bit of a safety net, so while they're learning how to be an officer, they've got us to support them for the learning. And I think that's a good thing about the PCDA.
It is, I mean, I look at referencing. Yeah. Referencing a really academic process, if you don't reference, then you've effectively stolen stuff, etc. The way I look at referencing is if you think as a police officer, you seize a mobile phone from somebody, you've then got to put that in an evidence bag, and you need the reference number off the bag. You're then going to put that into a property system, that then gives you a reference number, and that then goes into a property store somewhere.
Yeah.
So on your statement, you are saying, I've seized the phone, I put it in this bag, this was my property reference number, and this is where it is. So you are referencing as you're following the chain of evidence through.
Yeah.
Whether you call it referencing or not, don't make a blind bit of difference.
Audit trail.
That's it. So that, and to me, I mean, I teach particularly around kind of pressure testing sources and things.
Yeah.
So a lot within the university will teach Maryland scale, etc.
Yes.
I, particularly for testing the depth of your sources, usually teach the CRAP test, where you're talking about currency, relevance, authenticity, etc.
Mm-hmm.
One, because police officers will probably remember it more.
Yeah.
But as well, in terms of when you're talking to somebody, you're asking them questions, you're gauging their understanding, you're then confirming or kind of questioning where they've been or what they've done with CCTV, with other statements, etc. So for me, I find the CRAP test easier to remember than the Maryland scale.
I do. Yeah.
So it's taking those, and then again, you could, like I say, you can pressure test your witnesses and your victims, etc., and your suspects by looking at the currency of what they're saying, the reliability, the authenticity, the accuracy of it,
Yeah.
and why they're telling you that information.
Yeah.
And that's the bit for me around trying to make it work. And of course, the other bit for me is I've got 14 years of still being operational, still going out and being involved in policing.
But you still work now, don't you? So I know that we'll have like a big massive week at work, it's all hectic, and then you go to work again.
Yeah.
It's obviously an operational role, so that's quite big. So when you finish the PCD, which is 3 years, what next?
So the next one for people is they can then look at specialisms.
Right, and where can they go?
So anything like dog handler, firearms, stone response shifts, neighbourhood teams, detective roles, PVP, so protecting vulnerable people. They can start going into the world of PIP 1, PIP 2, PIP 3, PIP 4, so your investigative stuff.
Mhm.
So once that 3-year probation's done, there's such a range of different departments that kind of are opened up. But I suppose the key bit being with PCDA and DEP versus IPLDIP, within the rotations that people get, you get to see response policing, neighbourhood policing, and being a detective. Whereas with IPLDIP, traditionally, you came out of training school, you then went on to a response shift for 2 years until you've passed your probation, and you predominantly only saw response policing.
You might do a week in PVP, but otherwise it was response, wasn't it?
That's it.
I think as well about the PCDA is it's a degree apprenticeship, so you actually get a degree at the end of it.
Yep.
We pay for that, or the police pay for that.
Police pay for that via the apprenticeship levy.
Right, so you get a free degree. Are you tied in then? So once you finish your 3 years, you've got that degree. Do you have to stay with the police for a certain amount of time, or can you just go?
I don't know, to be fair, because I've not been involved in the contract negotiations at the opposite end of it. So I can't answer that one if I'm honest.
That's fine. I just wondered. I was like, just go, because that's a big risk, isn't it? So for anybody watching this right now or later on, is there anything that you'd like to say about the police or your role or how you got to where you are?
I suppose the bit is, policing is what you make of it. And it's like with any job or anything else. What you put in is what you get out.
Yeah.
If you only put 50% in, you're probably going to get challenged or anything else. The reason why I've done stuff like the Commonwealth Games and Queen's Visit to South Yorkshire, Tour de France, Tour de Yorkshire, etc., is because I've put myself out there to do them.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I've worked on nationally with the College of Policing was only because I put my money where my mouth is. And I'm one of, if I criticise something, I usually not just have the problem, but try to give the solution as well.
Yeah.
And if somebody then says, well, we need somebody to work on it with us, I'm more than willing to put the effort in at the other side. And I think it's like with anything. If you're willing to do that, then you're going to get the most out of whatever you do, be it policing or anything.
Yeah.
If you're just naturally going to complain about everything but not put something in to change it, not have a potential solution or anything else, then that's up to you. But that drive and tenacity is the kind of the two key bits for me.
Thank you. And one last question. Why did you join the police?
Oh God.
I feel like your first interview.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I'm the first person in my family to ever join the police, so I don't come from kind of a police family.
Yeah.
We never had any friends or anything that were in the police. So for me, it was kind of untried, untested. One of the reasons I joined was PC Pellegrin.
Okay. Okay.
Many years back in the village where I grew up, he was our local kind of neighbourhood cop, and I still remember him now walking around the street. He knew near enough everybody.
We had one of them, PC Morley in Hillsborough. He was the cop everyone used to know.
Yeah. So as was PC Pellegrin, and going through school, he was always kind of the face there. And as I kind of then got into day jobs and stuff, thought, do I want to join the police? And then, as I say, for me, kind of re-rostered rest days, working New Year's Eve, working Christmas Eve, etc. I already did that in my day job.
Yeah.
And was looking to kind of for other roles. So I got a bit of flexibility, a bit of free time, a bit of weekends back.
Mm-hmm.
Then as I got a job working Monday to Friday, and then started enjoying the weekends, etc., and then got a family, kind of I went from I want to join to actually I'm happy being a career special constable and kind of been able to set when I work and where I work.
You've got a fantastic reputation, in our force especially, but I say nationally as well, which is credit to how hard you work and stuff. So thank you, Greg. And thank you for talking to us, really.
No worries. Thank you for having me and thank you for listening.
Thanks. Bye, everybody. Stay safe, look after each other. Please don't commit any crimes. Don't say that. I don't know how to get off this now, so you guys get to watch my finger. It's got to be an easy way to do this. Okay. Bear with me, people.